Well, let's see. We'd love to answer your questions. We get into a lot of topics every week. And by the way, you can text in. It's 781-837-4900. And we may use your question on a future segment. Anytime you want to text to the show, you can do that. 781-837-4900. This one is an anonymous text. I don't see a name attached to it. It just came through as an area code. This is from 781 for Mark Stiles. Mark, I've been living in a house for the last 40 years. Last week, I heard you talking about condo rules. I've been thinking about downsizing and getting a condo, but I'm embarrassed to say I don't understand what condo living is compared to home ownership. I have some questions. Can you explain more about condos? Okay. All right.
That's a great question.
Wants to downsize. All right. But it's lived in a, sounds like pretty much just used to living in a home.
Used to living in a home.
Yep.
Used to live in having his own independent decision-making powers. Mowed his own lawn, probably. Helped, hired people to do things around his house. Was responsible for all of the systems and structure of the property. Yeah, so we talked about actually the new regulations around lending to people who are buying condos last week. And Rob, as you can imagine, we did a video on our YouTube channel about it based on the tragedies in Surfside, Florida and Champlain Towers and what the lenders are requiring of the condo associations to be in a good structure and with solid financing behind it for reserves. But taking it back another step for the caller, living in a condominium is a shared living environment. So for the caller who has been living in his home for 40 years and he's used to certain ways because he's been independently deciding, well, within his community, right, within his family, they've decided what to do around the house. Is it time to mow the lawn? Is it time to fix the chipped paint on the house? Do we paint the whole house? Do we take on a capital expenditure to paint the entire house? Because that's a big undertaking. That's a lot of money to do that. Are we going to do that this year? Well, when you're living in a condominium, it's group decision. So are you capable of sharing, right? Are you capable of sharing duties and responsibilities? And are you prepared to allow others to make decisions on your behalf? So that's condominium living. It's for the millennials out there, a house hack. It was one of the first house hacks, right? You take a building, you chop it up and give everybody a fractional ownership of the building, because that's what it is exactly, is you take a building and everybody owns within the walls. So for the caller, you own your unit, you have the decision-making powers within your unit, but outside there's usually management. There's groups, leadership, associations that make the big decisions. And is the condo association funded? Does it have proper funding to make these repairs? And that's what we were talking about last week again on our YouTube channel. We talk about the new condo rules and how it affects financing. But for that caller, if you're sick of mowing the lawn, if you're sick of making all the decisions and you want to kind of take it easy, living in a condo is a great solution, because you have groups. But I always encourage people to get involved in the leadership of it. If there's a board, to either be involved or be at those meetings, similar to town meetings, right? You can't really complain. In fact, you can't complain at all if you don't have input, if you're not there, if you're not part of the decision-making process. But it's not quite communal living. We're not sharing dinners. We're not sharing groceries yet. I mean, it might be in certain condominium associations if they're built in that fashion, but you have your own independence. You have your own space, if you will. But for the bigger things, the capital expenditures, the maintenance, the insurance, all of the big picture items, that's a joint shared agreement with other owners similar to you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Does that help?
I hope that helps out that individual. I'm not sure if it is a man or a woman, but thanks for the question, by the way. Again, someone that is looking to downsize from their home living to a condo. And, going into a condo for the first time, I would imagine would be a little interesting, and you probably do have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and for the first-time home buyers, it's a great way to start. It's a great way to start to purchase a condominium. But I always encourage folks, real estate professionals, they're everything. Make sure you're dialed in with a good real estate professional that can show you all the way through the process and make sure you're doing the right things. You have a team around you, real estate agent, loan professional, obviously, real estate attorneys, and the folks at Styles Law would be happy to assist you there. But have a team around you, and for the folks that are selling, downsizing, make sure the CPA and the financial advisor are tied into the conversation as well.
All right. Make sure you get in touch before if you have any questions about this or other topics as well. Mark Stiles of Stiles Law. Their office is located on Route 139 in Marshfield. And as Mark mentioned, there's information on the website, the YouTube channels, and you can also contact Mark, right?
That's right. We can be reached at 781-319-1900. But I want to point out, Rob, I want to remind everybody that on June 11th, in front of our offices right here on State Road 139 in Marshfield, we're going to be having our 8th annual Shred Show.
Shred Show.
In support of the food pantry. And did you know, Rob, that they want non-perishable food items, but they also want checks? Because the checks have power. They can go up to the food bank and get 4 times the power with real money versus what you're donating. So all donations are great, but checks are better.
All right. Mark Stiles, Stiles Law, Route 139, Marshfield. Feel Good Friday. We do this every Friday right after the news at 9. Mark, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.